Okay, it took me a little while, but something I did that. Thanks, Rich.
No problem.
Okay, now we see everyone. This is good. This is the
Good.
first time I've ever did this with Facebook and Zoom at the same time. You know, it's a new thing, and I was kind of like searching for something for us to do. Okay, I did it. Thank you, guys. That was good. It's kind of like the lock-in world, right? We all have to work together.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful entry. That's the best talk ever.
Thank you much.
Okay, finish the
I know.
work.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for. I'll talk to you later. That's all I needed is to be able to mute to Facebook. Oh well, I first of all. By now, I don't know who's listening, right? Because it took so long for us to get this together. But the best thing about this is that I think the way this works is that it's going to record this, and if if something happens, that we need to repost it or something like that, and people that wants to hear it, we can edit it and put it together and put it out there for people to hear the whole thing, even though we're going through, because this portion right here, if the audience is listening, this is the part that I was supposed to do at 11:30 and work all these kinks out. But unfortunately, my fault, we end up starting at this time. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. And Rich, I have never heard your voice other than on a video, meaning that I've never seen you in person. But actually once I saw you, I think it was something because I used to work at the Palace for like 3 years. I was the manager for the Palace Dancers. And I remember you did something there, you were hosting after that. And it was like 2010 or something like that.
Probably.
And it was like a summit or some sort.
B-Boy Summit.
B-Boy Summit. And so that was the first time that I actually saw you. I heard your name, but I did see you there. I didn't, but I was in the back with the rest of the guys. And, but, Gemini, we've talked, Julia, of course, we've talked. and Julia and I've been back and forth. In the beginning, it was Gemini and I back and forth with information, because I was trying to understand something, right? And before I start with that, I want to give a shout out to a few people, right? So because I know that people like Skeeter, I know you would want to tell me different things to talk about. And I know that Booty Stretch was asking for information, and I apologize to him if it seems to be like, if I seem to have been short or anything like that. It's just that this conversation was mainly about something totally different than what they probably thinking about. And that's why I told him that I didn't want to be, I'm not here to be a street dance or locker police, basically. It's not what I wanted to do. So all you guys, I know that Scooby and Deputy Lionel, all the guys, they were willing to come on with me to talk to you guys. They figured I needed some support because they realized that I sounded pretty disappointed, in everything. But I chose to do this myself, because this is kind of like what I will be doing like once a week, because of Street Dance Roots, the website and stuff like that. What we're doing is talking to people that might have an issue so that we can straighten out issues. And it doesn't mean it could be a street, like a b-boy, because I'm all about street dance, period. And I don't know if you watched the video that I put out earlier.
Yes.
It was because it was mainly like I'm a street dancer that learned to lock and became a locker during that time. But my heart is always dancers, period. I have the love for dancers. That's my whole beam of being around. If you ever saw me in a club dancing, just party dancing, and you see that, wow, he must be high. and at that time I am, like I said, I'm totally high on dancing. and it's the honest God truth. I get my high. It's two ways I used to get my high, right? Dancing was the high that I got when I was in a club and stuff like that. The other way is when I would go and play my drums. Since I played drums in high school, I had a drum set. And then when I came to California, I bought a drum set. I would just go in my room, da-da. And just recently, I just put my drum set back together and I did some little, and so that's how I get my frustration out. And I just sweat and that's my other high. But so thank you other guys out there that wanted to be on or to support either way. No matter which way it is, whether it's supporting what I am talking about, which I don't think you really knew, or supporting the three lovely people on the screen here. So it really doesn't really matter, because I would like to start this off by saying why I was why I was disappointed. This is all about Don. As far as I'm concerned, it's all about Don, and I was concerned. Other guys are concerned about other things about this, right? But me, I was concerned with Don's legacy, and I wanted to apologize to Rich on jumping the gun of not, because usually I like to hear people out person, but I was so like with all the stuff that's happened here in America, I was just in an uproar, right? I'm thinking, here's another white guy trying to take us out the black culture. And it's not the way that, after looking at a bunch of videos from everyone, Gemini old videos, all of Richie's videos, not just the one that was there. And Julia, I had seen a lot of hers already, and like Don videos and other people videos. I realized that there's a problem on that I'm not going to attempt to try and solve, but I can tell you, it's well, first of all,
You're frozen.
I'm sorry, but the main thing about me that I realized is that the way that we look at it as being black and proud is that we don't want to lose anything that we have created, because so many people have either taken things from us or not given us the opportunity to have them. So music, dance is one of the first things that we black people was able to do to be successful. I mean, if you look at even back in the 30s and stuff like that, when the Lindy Hop came out, right? The guy Lindy is a black guy, but they call it, and most people that does the Lindy Hop now are mostly white people. But Lindy Hop actually started from Harlem, and they created this dance, and then, but even when I used to watch it on TV in the 60s and 70s, it was like what they call a sop hop type atmosphere, and it's mainly like white dancers in the show dancing to the Lindy Hop and doing stuff. So if people didn't know the history, they would think that the Lindy Hop was created by white people. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just that maybe that's some of the perception that people would get from certain things. And I know I did for years, until I learned, the name Lindy, where it came from and stuff like that. So, and other things, but we can't, I expressed when someone was saying something about Julia and I, about white people shouldn't do the dance or something similar. I'm not quite sure what it was. And I, because I'm a fighter for dance, right? Whenever someone's talking about someone, and I think I even wrote Rich about something like that, because I don't like to hear, and that's why I apologize to him, because it's not my thing to want to put dancers down. And so like I had put on that in a black culture, you would think that basketball is a Black culture, which it is. You know, most of the professional stars are Black, but the guy created basketball is a white guy, you know, and he created it for his doctor or something. I think he was from Canada is where I think where he's from. And it was just like a pastime that they did, and it came to be real big. But that's where, you know, I'm just saying, what I'm trying to say is that just because someone creates something doesn't mean that someone else can't do it. But when it comes to where it came from and the culture, I think it should be left there. I think that everyone should be able to do all styles of dance, because to me, to be honest, you know, I think that just about every street dance out there was created by a Black person or a brown person. And the only thing I don't know about breakdancing or b-boy, because I'm not from New York. Rich would probably know that since that's where he started. And I don't know who created it. I probably should have looked it up, but I know that like popping, you know, all the waving and, you know, electric boogaloo and crumping and of course locking, of course. And even like the old dances, the twist, the jerk, the monkey, the mashed potatoes, the breakdown, all those dances was a Black person that did it. So I don't think we're ever going to lose that part, because it's too obvious that if you're doing soul dancing of any sort, it was created by a Black person. But my main thing was, I didn't want Don to be lost in the shuffle of where it came from, like the Lindy, and then that the guy Lindy, being a Black guy that created the Lindy Hop, but most people thought that it was just a dance. And I was looking at like Don, 50 years from now, they know locking and they know Don, but they don't know where it's from or anything like that. Because, you know, that's kind of like what I was looking at. And I had to search and say, well, where is Lindy Hop from? And then I found it was from New York, you know, from out there. And so, because I only know what I know, and I only talk about what I know for sure. And that's why this form that we're doing today is a form that I would like to keep going for other people that know what they know. Because when you hear something, it might not be true of what you know that you're hearing from someone. It might not be like the way that they're saying it. Perfect example. And I have done this many, many times until I watched a bunch of videos of Don. People would say, you know, Don started dancing because he couldn't do the funky chicken and the breakdown and, you know, stuff like that. That's how he got to doing this. And I just watched a video a couple of days ago. Don said, someone asked him a question because he was doing an interview. And I have this video, it's on YouTube. And he said, that's not how, he said, what they asked him, how did he get to, and he was telling them about a friend of his was trying to show him how to do, I forgot what the dance is. I don't know if it's a rubber band, man, or another dance altogether. What was it?
The robot shuffle.
Yeah, that could be it. And but I you know, for like I said, I don't remember, but I know it wasn't the breakdown, and I know it wasn't a funky chicken. And he said that, and he said it's like a myth. People said that this is where, that's not how I started locking. And he also said, he said a wrist. I said, there was no special trick in me doing it. It was just the way you know, it's me. He said, it's all me. He said, I don't teach anyone anything. People would watch me and mock me, and I never taught any style of, you know, any dance. People are taking, you know, my dance and making it themselves, and that's why he always said, you know, do the fundamentals of locking and be yourself. he told me this long time ago when the way I dance, because I wasn't the person that you look at and say, wow, that's a, great locker. You might look at me when I was young and say, wow, that's a great dancer. But to me, I felt like I was a great locker because I was there. I did everything, and then I kind of weaned myself to be more me and put like 50-50. And so, but that's the way Don wanted it to be. I mean, I don't know what, I don't know if that's the way he wanted it to be, but that's what he said that's the way he would always say. And everyone, all three of you guys have heard him say that over and over, I'm quite sure, and I said in class, it's one of my favorite things to say, everything that I do when I write things down, I would say, just do you. That's actually my slogan for my website is just do you. Once you learn the fundamentals, do you, but you got to learn the fundamentals. And then I just have a couple more things to say. The reason I was so drawn on the Valley style locking that was said is because it was, to me, no offense to anyone, to me, it was a routine, a very good routine, and the lockers lock well, but it was a locking routine. I see many of them coming up, especially like Tony Gogo and them, when they was putting together the group before Greg came from, the Gogo brothers, like back in the day, and other groups that was in Orange County, and no one, like, there's no Orange County style. There's no. People would, only reason they used to say Orange County style because it's the way I dance, and I lived out there, and they were doing a lot of my moves, and they call it that. There's no such thing, far as I'm concerned. Locking is locking, and you can have your own personal style. I feel that, and I feel that whoever choreographed the routines for the Valley style dance, what they call it, is coming from their style. There's, and then the main thing, I don't want to get too much into that because it'll lead to like saying things that I don't want to get into. But the most important thing is that, to me, no matter where you live, what country, locking is locking. And you can do it whatever way you want after you learn the fundamentals. I've seen people do it all kinds of ways, but it's just locking. That's all it is. And people have their own style. I watched Gemini dance a lot lately. I don't know if you can tell I'm pointing at him. And he has his own style. Rich, I've seen you dance. You have your own style. Julia has her own style. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me speak if you don't mind. And I agree exactly what you said. I learned to lock. Now, when I learned, the first exposure to locking when I came out from New York, and this is in the video. By the way, did you watch the whole Valley Style video?
To the very end.
Did you know that you were in it?
To the very end.
Okay.
I'm just saying, because the only reason I keep saying it like that, because Gemini said, did you watch it to the end? I said, to the end.
When I was exposed to locking, I was 17, 18 years old. What's Happening was on, and I remember watching Rerun Dance. I didn't know what it was. And when I saw Chain Reaction for the first time, and let me make this clear, I am not part of Chain Reaction, never trained with Chain Reaction, never talked to those guys. I am not from Chain Reaction. I'm not from Body Magic either. Those were the two prominent groups in the Valley at that time. When I saw Chain Reaction lock, they put on a show at the club I was at, and I was amazed. I was like, whoa, what is this dance? Never heard about it, nothing like that. And I just immediately found a love for it. At that time, I started to copy what they were doing. And yes, copying, they wouldn't teach me. I actually asked them to teach me, they wouldn't. So I started to copy. Then I found out that this dance was going on in LA. And I heard some people say I never went over the hill, but that means I was never at the Radiotron and all these, or the radio when it was original thing, or I wasn't at Uncle Jam's Army, which I was all there all the time. So again, don't pay attention to what people say. Ask me and I'll tell you. Then I noticed the difference, the way the lockers lock, and no, they did not do choreographed routines. That's what I thought locking was at the time. When I saw the lockers, was more of a freestyle. And when they danced, they had something that these guys, Chain Reaction, Body Magic, even me, did not have. That funk and the way they moved. And that's not something born with me. I'm not a natural born dancer. I just don't have that. So I started going to LA to watch, and hence the battle things where I would call people out in circles, because yes, back in those days, we did have battles. And I would watch the way people would dance, and I would remember it and go home and practice it. Hence, I met Terry and Jazzy and Anthony. And because I was learning it as we went, I was kind of teaching it to them, and then vice versa. And when we took what we were doing, like you said, I was teaching them. That was my style. When I used to go to LA and we would lock, seriously, all the brothers, the African-American community, the Black Americans would see me and go, those are those guys from the Valley. That's that Valley style thing. That's what they used to call it. That's what they said to me. And I didn't understand why, but I did understand later that because I was very technical, not routines, by the way, we didn't do routines unless we did shows. I'm a soloist. I'll jump in a circle and I will solo. There's no routine needed. I learned it by watching routines, but when I watched the lockers, I learned by watching them and then eventually training with them individually, except for Greg and Shaq. But Rerun, Fluky, even Don. Now, Don used to come to the Valley because back in those days, Tony T's dance studio opened down in LA, and he was a Don fan. And Don used to teach classes at Tony T's in Los Angeles. But then they opened one here in the Valley. So I used to go to Don's class. And you know how Don used to teach? He would show videos of himself dancing. And sometimes he would take a box of tissues and said, everybody grab a tissue and run around and throw it around and just be you. Don didn't teach the actual foundation of basics. We learned those by watching. When I taught those, that's always what I teach first, foundations and basics. I always give respect to Don. Any class I ever do, this dance was created by Don. In my first video I ever made, it was called The Sacred Art of Locking. You don't even see anything in the video. All you hear my voice say. This video is dedicated to the creator and father of locking, Don Campbell. That is the beginning of that video. Don Campbell is in the Valley Style video. He even says it in that point. He goes, I never taught it, but Richie with the double cross and the way he teaches it is just fine. Now, I've heard someone say that Don was coerced and Don didn't know what he was doing. By the way, that video was in a closet. We were at the B-Boy Summit and I wanted to do an interview with him and I asked, but there was nowhere to do it. So we went into a closet, a walk-in closet, we moved the clothes out of the way and there was no preempt anything. Don just started talking. Then I heard someone say that Don didn't want to be rude, so that's why he didn't say anything bad about you. And I'm like, Don could have just said, I don't want to do the interview. But Don freestyled that whole thing. There was no anything. There was no questions preempted or anything. Don just freestyled that. When Don said that about me, I was proud that he recognized me and recognized that I did have my own style. My style of locking is considered the Valley style. That is my style. It has nothing to do with Locking for Life or anything. I grew up in the Valley. When I moved here, I've been here for 41. I've been locking for 41 years, Alpha. Who introduced Don back into the locking scene? Me. I invited him to the B-Boy Summit. I got on stage and introduced him, and so on for all the years there. I helped this culture. Not trying to steal it. By the way, dancing is not my occupation. I'm a psychologist by trade. I am not a professional dancer. When my group decided to be professional, they went out to dance with Janet Jackson and stuff. That wasn't my thing. I'm more of a street kid that way. But I went to college to be a doctor. So dancing is not my career. It's my passion and my love. And I've been doing this for 41 years and promoting this dance. And you can ask those two, because those two trained with me and came to learn. And while they came to train, I introduced them to the OGs. So when someone says, Richie's trying to steal the dance, steal what? That dance I learned in Compton and South Central. I went to those clubs, and that's where I learned it. That is where this dance is from. A million people on Facebook. Don created this dance. It is a dance of the Black culture. Now it's a dance of the world. Yes, this is where it started, but it's grown way bigger than that. It's a worldwide dance now. But do we know the roots and the foundation? Don is the root and the foundation of this dance. There is no argument. I learned that from being in that culture. I didn't all of a sudden copy. First of all, everybody copied Don. He didn't teach anybody. Everybody copied. That we're all copies. If Don actually sat there and taught you these basics, okay, then Don taught it to you. But we all copied him. So we all copied his dance. Plain and simple. That's the truth. I've respected this man since the day I met him, even before. When I actually got to meet him, he was a great man. He was a sweetheart, very loving, very caring. Some people take his word and twist it. Some people use his words that wasn't his words and poisoned what he said. And that's not true. Don loved this dance. And we all love it. Everyone in these pictures love this dance, and it's become part of our life and part of our passion. No one's here trying to steal anything. I'm not making money off this dance. I don't go perform. That's not my thing. I do it because I love it. And I wish me and you had this conversation alone so you can get more information about me. I did years ago, in 2011, I created an event called On the One. And me and Skeet spoke about this, and we created a dance workshop called Generations. And in that generation, Skeet brought Tony Gogo, Fluky, Caboose, Anthony Thomas, me, and Gemini. Why is it Generations? We have every decade of lockers, and we had a big workshop to teach everybody. My idea, and it was called Generations. Oh, and Skeet was part of it with me. Me and Skeet did it together. We did the On the One event together. Now, again, don't know, haven't heard him say it from his mouth, but then I heard that he said, I'm trying to steal the dance and culturally appropriate. Then I would say, why'd you do all this stuff with me to begin with, if I was this type of person? So again, nothing bad for him. He's allowed to have his opinion, and I have mine. Everybody can have your opinion. My opinion is this: I steal nothing. I love something so deeply that I helped spread it around the world. And yes, I helped spread it around the world. I left this country and traveled around, especially in Europe. Hence, look at all the people that are around, that I'm friends with, that now you're friends with. If I was trying to steal something, I would have told them, I created this and I did this. That wasn't the purpose of Valley Style. Valley Style documentary is a documentary about my life and the people I have influenced in the Valley on this dance with love, period. Now, yes, they called Orange County Style. Hence, the guys called me Valley Style, just because, again, I remember when back in the days, people said we look like cheerleaders. And originally we did. We did, because we did not understand the funk and the feel and the groove of this dance. It wasn't until later. Jazzy and Anthony helped me with that. And yes, they are Black, and they taught me this. I didn't have that. Like I said, I am not a natural born dancer. They taught me. I'm a teacher, but I'm always a student, and that's the truth. And I can only speak for myself. If people want to say whatever they want, that's fine. Call me on the phone, let's have the conversation. Meet me in person. Battle me. I don't mind. I love battling. It only ups my game. And again, about battling, now I hear locking is not a battle dance. But interesting for the people that say that, why do they judge these competitions then? If locking's not a battle dance, why are you judging one? If that is your belief. So Sorry, just I wanted to get that all off my chest. And I wasn't angry at you and the things you said. I know we didn't have this conversation, and this would have changed everything. I also understand I live in LA. And yes, I see the racism and I see all the stuff that goes on. You had two people die recently that were very close, OGs in the dance world. You have all this stuff going on with the riots and everything. So I didn't respond to you. I just stepped back. I go, there's a lot going on right now in the Black community and the white community of what's going on. So I didn't want to respond. I didn't want to defend myself. Let this play out. I understand. But I'm not a racist, so I've heard that I said all Black people are lazy and sloppy. Not true.
Just a note, he tells this to me also, that I'm slappy, etc. So you see, it's for everyone.
Let me say, the person that did say that I said that, funny, he was at my house training with me. Yes, and I told him he was sloppy and offbeat. I did tell him that. I didn't say Black people. I said, you're sloppy and offbeat. That's the truth. So I didn't want to take up so much time, but let's open this up. But again, me and you need to sit down so we could have a 5-hour conversation. And when Scooby came back, by the way, Scooby with his wife came to my house with Skeet and his wife. And we had this big conference. No, she wasn't here. It was just us having dinner together and talking about the locking world and everything. Fluky, when he teaches classes, just so you know, he teaches at my house for free. Fluky teaches students from out of the country at my house. I don't charge him anything because I love Fluky, and me and Fluky get along really well. And you want to talk about an OG? Fluky's an OG. So again, I'm not tooting my horn or anything. I'm part of this culture. You cannot take me out of it. For the people that say I'm a guest, no, I'm a resident. I'm from LA. I learned this dance in LA. I am a resident in this culture. I am not Black, but I respect the culture. I've been part of the culture. And sorry, I was ushered in a long time ago. All these young kids cannot take me out of a culture I've already been in. I'll say that, and you guys have the floor now.
Well, you know, I enjoy listening to you, what you're saying, because this is why I'm doing this, right? Because like I'm saying, people are going to believe what they want to believe, and there's nothing you can really do about it. If they got it in their heart and their head that this is this, it's just like, you know, it's like people, you know, I never been a Democrat. You know, I've never been like against Republicans ever, still not. But I don't like our president. And I'm only throwing it in there is because he lies and he just, you know, because I've been around, I'm 67 years old, so I've been through a lot of presidents, and I take them as they come, no matter which party they're in. And the reason I said that is because some people are like that about Trump. Once they believe in him, I mean, they will seem like they will almost walk through fire, you know? So some people, you just can't change their mind about things. So I'm saying to you, you know, I can only take you for your word, right? And, you know, that's what I can do. Because that way I'm hearing it from you, and I hear from other people talking about themselves, and that's what this forum is for people to set the record straight and let people know how you feel about it, where you came from. And that's what you have done. And that's why I said nothing. I just listen. And like I said, some people are just going to be followers, and they'll listen to certain people and they won't change their mind. No matter what you said just now, it'll be, you know, tomorrow, you look on the internet and they're saying, well, he didn't, da, da, da. I know, I'm not here to be the police. Like I said, I'm not. I'm just listening to you guys, and I'm taking you for your words. And that's what I'm here for. And
it's sorry to interrupt. I would say it's more than my word. It's documented. My history is documented. The people who ran the B-Boy Summit, you could ask them who approached and wanted to put locking and popping in the B-Boy Summit. You can ask the person who created freestyle sessions who put locking and popping in those things. That was me. Nobody else. That was me, and that cannot be refuted. That is documented.
I know, I understand, but for my terminology, for me to say to you, I take you as your word, but trust me, I don't need any of this. I can just sit home. I'm retired. You know, like you, I was professional, right? I was a general contractor, had a good, you know, I have a good life. I'm fine, right? I I'm doing this because I love dance and I love being around it. And the reason I'm cutting you off on that is because, but still for me, whatever I hear someone say, and if I say to you, I'm taking you as your word, that must mean that I have done something else besides just listen to you talk. It's just me. I don't go inside of a house when I used to like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this room addition for you and start making up stuff. I'll tell them exactly what's gonna happen and what's gonna, you know, piece by piece. So I watch your videos. I watch you sit down and praise the lockers. I'm just saying, and this is what I watch your videos, especially the one when you were saying about Don and where locking came from. That Scooby was the first one to come on, and then the guys that created moves after that. And you even named me in there as one of the Alpha Anderson. And this was like, and I looked at the date, it was like 2013 or something like that. You know, I mean, that's what date it said on YouTube. I don't know when it was actually did, but that's what it said, right? So I'm saying, and then I watched the whole video that Gemini gave me, and I watched a lot of the lockers in there. I watched Scooby in there. I watched myself in there, and I listened to a lot of talk about the lockers and praising the lockers. And that's when I reached out to Julia and said, I think I want to talk to you guys, you know, and trust me, there were people going to say, well, Alpha, you shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. He's just lying. You know, I'm old enough, grown enough, and a man enough to have my own opinions, and freedom of speech is still here, even though sometimes they want to take it from us, you know, no matter what race you are. But I'm just speaking from the heart with that. So I know maybe you might rub people the wrong way because, you know, when I used to go to New York, I would say, God, man, they're rude. You know, I'm talking about New York people. I remember walking out of Macy's. We did a show at Macy's. We were in the window of Macy's dancing for the Nike tour when the Nike was when Olympic was coming to America, and they put us in all of the windows as people walked by. And I remember walking out of the Macy's, and it was like cold, and this lady slipped. And we tried to help her, and she cursed us out. I'm going like, "Oh my God, we're only trying to help you," you know. But it was just a lot of. But I'm just saying, if that's what they get from you, you know, yeah, I don't know you other than like
It's
right
their
now.
issue, not mine. Again, I just want to give information and the truth. I'm a man of my word, like you said. You know, you take people for their word. I'm a man of my word. I was brought up that way. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. If you watch all my footage over the years, I've been very consistent in everything I say. I can't say that for many other people in this dance world, especially in locking. And again, no names, just what I've noticed. A lot of people are inconsistent over the years of what they say. If you watch when I first started making videos to now, everything I've said is consistently through. And I would love to hang out with you and have these conversations without having an audience in front of us all or whatnot. And so you do get to know me better. And then you understand that maybe I do rub people the wrong way. Yes, I am from New York, but I'm very passionate about what I believe in. And it's the passion that comes out, and maybe my assertiveness. I believe in this dance. It's become part of my life. Locking has made me confident and outgoing. And I'm a true introvert when I was young. It has changed my life drastically in every aspect of my life. So
I hear
That
you.
is where I come from.
Okay, well, before I turn it over to the rest of the guys, I just want to throw out a little bit more about why I was concerned. Because when I looked at the videos and looking at routine of you guys, it was like synchronized routines, which the lockers didn't do a lot of. And the thing is that, like I was saying in my video, that the locking was created basically to be uh, a group of guys with different styles of locking, except Don, because he was the only guy that didn't. It was his dance. Everyone else that danced, it was their style. We say Fluky style, Scooby style, Greg style. Everyone that was in the group had a different style. Even when I was, dancing way back before there was a locker group, we all had different styles. So, but the group, when it was put together, and the way that the group became famous, like Don said on one of his videos, he said it was no way for me creating this dance and going to open up for someone, just me by myself. He said, so I sought out for the best that I could find to do my dance. So, what I'm trying to say is that the routines, the 4 or 5 counts of 8 in a locker routine, that would pretty much be it, just to set off what the real locking is. Because there is nothing in memories to me, and I saw a lot of all the routines I did. I was with the locker for 6 years, right? The second generation. The first generation is what we all go on, which is fine, because by that time we were just doing fairs and stuff like that, But the most important thing is that the first generation, I don't remember anything in the first generation lockers as a routine that I go like, whoa, I remember that. That was cool of a routine, right? But I do remember each and every one of those guys coming out. And when they come out, they're so powerful. Boom, boom, boom. That was the most exciting part about locking. Don, and them coming out like that, that's Don. Because Don, yeah, he did he did all of the dance, throwing up, catching, all that stuff. But he was all over the place. He didn't just stand up and lock. He was all over the place. And the guys, when they danced, they were all over the place. That was locking. That was the foundation of the locker group. I think if it was just all routines, it wouldn't have been as big as it was. If all the guys just in a row did like the Temptations or the Jacksons all did like a routine, locking wouldn't have been nowhere near as big as it is, because they all did different styles of jumping out there, and everybody that watched them started doing the same thing. Whenever they had a group, they would do the same thing. They'd go out and do solos, blah, blah, blah. Some would put a group together. And I have said, so because I like to just say what I say, and when I say, I mean what I say as well. And I have said that sometime when groups were put together, they didn't have enough powerful people in there to really stand out like the lockers was. So it's better for them to put a routine together, because it's just like singers. They put a group together and they sing, and one guy will go out by himself, and he realized, oh, I better go back into the group because he wasn't that strong. So yeah, there are some people that needs a group, and there's some people that doesn't need a group, and there's some people, when you see them in a group, you can tell that each one of them are powerful, and they express that by you seeing them going out and doing the solos. Otherwise, you never know how good they are, and that's why that was the only thing that was bothering me, and that's why I'm segueing to Europe, and that's the part that kind of like bothered me, because when I first did, I looked at videos from that you had choreographed, routines rather, and I looked at some of the European dancers, more of the younger ones, with that same same style of like you say, your style. I call it, I don't call it Valley style. I call it,
Oh, my style, that's fine.
you're just from the Valley, but it's your style. I can't say, I live in Chino, the Alpha Chino style. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying it's your style. And I see your style in Europe. And I don't think it's the style that you did when you were soloing, because I would like to see, just personally, more of the lockers, the Don, and in other states, other countries too, other countries as well. I'm talking, just one sec, I'm gonna get there. And it's not that it's not all, it's just that if you're, like I said once before, when we're teaching locking, we have to not just teach the dance. We have to teach the soul, rhythm, and funk, all of it at once, so that they can feel. Because if they just do what a teacher says do, then they losing a lot. And it should be known, okay, you're learning this dance, but this is a dance that was from like people that did solos. This is a solo type dance, and that's what it was. It was created by solo artists. I mean, Don was a solo artist, and everyone that joined Don was the same. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Julia.
Yeah, I just wanna say something. I think Gemini will know better than me, but about Europe, the real influence, the biggest influence is maybe not Richie, is Anthony, because a lot of people discovered locking in Europe by watching TV video clip, and at that time it was Janet Jackson. So a lot of people start locking because they see locking in the Janet Jackson video, and they start
That
to
makes
imitate.
sense.
That's why this is not Richie
Yes.
coming and teaching
Yes.
the wrong way. Is
That's-
how locking arrived in Europe. Is because people watch TV. We don't have Soul Train in France. We have MTV, and in MTV they're gonna show Janet Jackson. I think I'm Gemini, maybe you know better, but
That's good. I mean, this is why we're here. And I have to tell you that, because that you just made a point that I made, and you just straightened out the point why it is. And so, and you have talked to me and to say what you were going to do to, that it's we've already talked about it. And I think that we're good in Europe. I love the people from Europe. That was the first country I ever went to when I started dancing. I was in Germany, and Berlin, and so I have nothing against that. It's just that I saw that, and it'd be wrong of me not to bring it up, because then it's not fair to the dancers. And so now the teachers would know locking is not an easy dance. Locking, people think locking is easy. Locking is hard. It's not like, going out and just having fun with it. You go out, you work doing locking, and all the things that they do, it's not just a stand up, bum, bum, bum. It's done. You think that when Don went out and start locking, what he was doing was easy? No. Greg, Scooby, Tony Gogo, Skeeter, Fluky, Shav, Tony Basil, everybody that was locking during that time, and a lot of other lockers, the deputy, my closest friend, Lionel, and Big Deputy is Big D. Big D know you well, because he was talking about you, Gemini. And, because Big D and Deputy and I was like the Three Stooges. We were always together. And so, but what I'm saying is that it's a hard dance, and you got to teach it that way for them to know that it's not like a soft dance. I did it softly because I did all these other crazy things. I was all over the place. But it's not a soft dance. It's only thing harder than that is breakdancing.
Street dance, that's why. It's a street dance.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Which makes it hard.
That's right. That's right.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that's, I just wanted to give you guys this form, and now, Gemini, you have to,
Yes, thank you, Alpha, for doing the live. First of all, thank you very much, and for sharing your point of view and sharing your life story. And I know a little bit because we talked already at the camp,
Right.
and it's another a pleasure again to talk with you about this. So me, I don't know because like recently we've been under some you know like some messages, very disrespectful messages, very hateful messages, and I was shocked because like everybody, you know, like we've seen crazy things happening in the US towards the African American community. And then suddenly some people that moment send messages and talking about Richie and the Valley style and put locking for life mixed with this and try to make it confusing for everybody. So let me clarify certain points. First of all, I totally agree to everything you say right now. The reason why locking for life is as I gave support to the Valley style documentary is because when I went to LA, and before that, let me go back because before that, I started in 1989. During the 90s, locking was very little, and the people I've seen and gave me the envy to go further was the LA City Rockers in those Janet Jackson videos and Shabadoo in the movie Breaking. That's what we had, and we had also a movie called Body Rock. For the people who knows, there is a few lockers inside, and also from the Valley also Skeeter Rabbit from the EBs. And I mean, there was a few information that we had at the time. I'm going to talk about the 90s. During the 90s is hip hop. Locking is like DJ Renegade used to tell me, it's in a coma. You don't see a lot of lockers. People think it's played out. It's dead. This dance is finished. That's what people used to say at the time. Popping was close to death also. So it was very like hip hop now. Everything is about hip hop. And even breaking was kind of low. With those events, breaking started to come back. And when with my friend Priska, we decided to do something to bring back locking on the forefront. So we decided to create a concept just to bring back locking and use the talent we have in different fields to combine those talents to make it accessible for more people and more new generation, because at the time locking was seen as the old dance, over, finished. Now everything is about hip hop. So when we decide to do it, the term for life is something we grew up with, because during the 90s in rap songs from the US and movies from the US, movies like Colors and others, we were watching those movies and music from LA, and we heard that for life and those things. So it was a common thing that we came up with. That's how the name come from. The shield was an original creation by my friend Priska, because we were watching the lockers with the stripes. So we say as an homage, we're going to use that and put the shield and bring back locking in the forefront. Because when we look around, no locking, no events, no battles, and no events. There's no battle. The only dance who do events is breaking. Battle of the year, breaking events like this. And you have a pocket of lockers, but very few in London and a few cities like this. Very few people are into locking in the 90s. So when I watched these guys from the Valley and Shabadoo in the movie Breaking, this is where I got the interest from that dance and I fall in love for it. And after that, I wanted to learn more because I wanted to know where this style comes from. Because at the time I just see videos. So then I went to New York because you see, I didn't know it was from LA. I went to New York because I was more connected with the dancers from New York. Mr. Wiggles, Popmaster Fable, Adesola, many people from New York I was more connected with because they used to come in Paris more. And they used to call that electric boogie. We didn't know electric boogaloos at the time. We didn't know, I mean, it was not clear. So I met Mr. Penguin in 97 in the Rocksteady Crew anniversary, and he was the first original I've met. First person who showed me the hand check and how to do the lock and explain the history and things. My English was not that good at the time, but it was my first step. Then I started to, we didn't have a big internet movement at the time. So I started to reach in LA, because now I know it's from LA. He told me it's from LA. You are at the wrong city. It's not in New York. It's a LA thing. So now I have to go to LA. And when I go to LA, the first person who helped me and connect with me was Richie Rich, because he did that video that a friend of mine bring me back, because I was looking for information where that dance come from and everything. And this is also where, after Penguin explained me that Don Campbell and the lockers and everything, this is the first time in 97, and I started in 89, I saw the lockers. And he showed me those videos. Then I went to LA in 2000. And then from there, I started to learn and watch everybody. To me, history is very important. Like you said, all my students, everywhere I go, everybody I teach, I always make sure that they study the history. And when I mean the history, I mean the history, the full history. When you mention people like deputy, yourself, some people don't mention, they just mention the lockers, Soul Train and the lockers. To me, it's important that everybody is mentioned. So because of my story and many people in Europe, we received the culture, not from Soul Train, but by the movie Breaking, and mostly the LSD rockers, mostly in those videos with Janet Jackson. That was, to me, my experience. And after, when I went to LA, Richie Rich bring me, the first time I went there, the first place he bring me was to Don Campbell at Tony T Dance Studio. He didn't bring me to Chain Reaction, he bring me to Don Campbell. And from there, he tried to contact everybody. I hang out with Flowmaster, I went with Fluky, I went with Shab, I went to everybody. And at the time, even Greg, everybody. And everybody, and most of the time they were telling me, yeah, you interested in locking, but locking is finished now. Nobody is really, most of the people were very curious to see me interested in the dance, because I remember in the 90s and even early 2000s, there's no battle event, there's nothing. Why do that guy come from Europe in LA, study that dance? And I was with my paper book in clubs with Luz Caboose and Fluky Luke asking questions in the clubs to Fluky. Fluky showing me the which way in the clubs, because he told me, you have to be the club, you have to go to the club to learn. Fluky always being so nice, and he never talked bad to anybody. He was like, always like, hey, let's go Gemini, let's have it. And he was facing me, showing me how to do the lock and everything. Fluky, Greg, I become a master student of Greg. I became an assistant with Shab for a little while. I was going to everybody. Even sometimes, some of these people was telling me, don't go see them, they're bad people, don't go. Me, I said, I want to see everybody. I met Chain Reaction one time and only one time. I had my experience with them one time. Even Richie Rich didn't want me to go, actually. When I told him I'm going to meet those guys, Richie was like, oh, this guy, not good. Funny enough, right? And then I say, no, hey, I'm going to hang out this weekend. I'm going to go to Caboose in Orange County. This is where I heard the style, OC style and stuff. And Caboose explained me that. He said, it's not an official term, but we guys in OC, we did, and I think across path with you at a mini golf one day with Caboose and everybody, but it was, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, deputy.
I think so. Yeah.
Deputy had like a mini golf tournament type little thing.
Yes.
That is right.
Yes.
Holy crap.
And I was there. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I was asking everybody questions, listening everybody, and I was making my own vision of it, because everybody have different point of view. I started to practice with Greg. He was telling me certain things, and he praised Don to the max. Everybody praised Don, actually.
Yeah.
Everybody. It was clear to me that it's nobody else. It's Don. Everybody wanted Don. So
like
it's
God
very easy.
us.
Yes. And then I've been to those events that, thanks Richie to bring back locking, because those events were the big events at the time, B-Boy Summit, Freestyle Session, and it was a B-Boy event. Richie Rich, and I talked to the organizer, and I know it, he make it happen, and he bring Greg and everybody there. We even did panel discussion. I have many videos that I'm gonna bring up soon, but I have many videos I do conferences with Tony Gogo, with Greg, with everybody, Caboose. We did many shows with Caboose. And I was going to everybody. And I've noticed the different styles. So for me, it was interesting because to me, it enriched the dance. I don't want to be stuck. I'm an artist, I'm a dancer, I'm a creative person. I cannot be stuck to only one person. And that's why I said to all my students, you go where you do, be yourself, but learn. My teachers is a lineup of a lot of people from France, from the US, from the originals. And I just love the dance and I learn from everybody. So after going back from this B-Boy Summit, I entered the competition. It was a dance locking competition showcase. I came back to France and I came up with the ideas to let's make locking, let's put locking in the battle competition. Because if locking don't go to battle competition, I don't think locking will survive. Because yes, it will still be there. But now everybody, the newer generation, the 2000s, is about competition and battles. So I started to talk to organizers in France to organize the first locking battles, meaning with 3 judges and qualification and everything like we can see nowadays. It didn't exist at the time. When I did that, some people tell me I was doing the wrong thing because it's not my culture, it's not a good thing to do, it's not a battle dance. And I was like, I'm not saying it's a battle dance, but I believe that locking is, to me, the best dance ever, dance styles ever. And why you cannot put locking in the, you see popping there, and you see house. House is not a battle dance either, but all those dance going into, that's why I talked to Bruce. And we had a discussion about, locking, of course, locking is. Imagine if locking was not at the Just Debout, it would have been difficult for everybody of us. And when I start to organize those events, I start to invite everybody I could from different generations. Everybody, different generation, different point of views, because I wanted to have what I was going there. So I see everybody. So the people who were interested to share their dance, they come, they teach. I translate many conferences from many OGs. We do tour, workshops, showcase, everything, showing conferences about the locking story. So that's why the beginning of Locking for Life. And then it became bigger and bigger because first in France, some people were more interested and say, oh, it's very good what you're doing and how can we help? How can we join? And then it became bigger and other countries joined and people, it became bigger than what I expected. With Priska, we didn't expect that. We just wanted locking to come back strong because we see breaking, popping was coming stronger and locking was the dance. Like at the time, Alpha, when it was the first edition of Just Debout, for example, when it was the locking competition, you can see the crowd going out. The crowd, the full crowd going out. The last few years of the Just Debout event, this is the best moment of the day, almost, for many people. Even the organizer told me that locking was the highlight for many people. We've seen some of the best moments. We even see Tony Gogo won the last edition.
I remember.
So when I see these things, I don't want to talk too much, but I made my research. I did my best to bring as much as information from LA to France, who's been spread in Europe. The people from my generation in the 90s, I don't remember I've seen them in LA. Rich can tell, I don't know how many people, some people came to compete, but I was there for months and weeks, hanging out with Caboose and everybody and trying to learn as much about the clothes, about where this come from and this, and Rich knows that. I was there all the time. And I'll bring all those information to try to develop. That's why we call Locking for Life, artistic development for a lifestyle. Meaning that we develop things, ideas and things and events for the people to have access to this. So now we're teaching in countries they never seen locking before. And you have like events like Lock is Not a Joke by Julia. You've been there. You see all those kids from all those countries. Some of them they don't know, but we do conferences there and we invite as a maximum of OG as we can. And we mix, like Richie did in the past, we did many generation, people from Japan also, and we mix, you've been there, you know. Mm-hmm. So like Richie said before, the confusion with Valet style and the only reason why, because when I went to LA, the people from the Valet, and to me it's not only Richie style, because Anthony is a member of that documentary, Jazzy J, and when you see it's different people from all colors doing that technique or that flavor. At the time, that's the only thing I said to Richie when the documentary come out. I told him that he should document this. Like tomorrow, if there is something about deputy and you and your crew and what you did, and there's a documentary about that, I will support that also, because I think it's important that everybody have the full picture. You know, we did with Locking for Life many things. So my action speaks more than my words. We did tribute from all the OGs, from many things. I did the movie Obsessive Funk with Paul Belletre, who also was an idea to showcase the people from LA with my own money. And we didn't make money with this. With Locking for Life, beside what we do, I mean, when I teach or when I do a performance, but beside that, when we organize, and it's a lot of work, beside all those events that we're doing, Julia will talk about it probably. We try to best to bring, and you, Alpha, you've been here, you've been to our event. Many people have been to those events. And to me, I was a bit sad that to see those messages by a young dancers that don't really know what we do, and just maybe for a skin color or something, you have a problem with us. I think it's very sad, because I never heard Greg tell me such a thing. I never heard Fluky or even Don told me things. They always told me I was welcome. Let's go to the club. Let's go. Let's hang out. Let me teach you. Let's do this. And I have all those videos. This is why Greg trusts me and came and gave me the Master Student Award, because I was translating for him in different languages and things. So my idea was to make locking bigger. When I see locking become bigger, when I support dancers from all around the world, even people who don't know me, they put the hashtag Locking for Life. It become bigger than what I expected. I don't own locking. I don't own, we use the name because it was necessary at the time to bring locking up. And when we organize events in Russia, in Italy, in Spain, in France, in China, in Hong Kong, in India, and we bring, we can go for days like this, all the conferences, the workshop. Any of my students knows that I'm very picky on that. Nobody teach a ballet style class. We always say a locking class. And we always make sure that we tell them about Don Campbell. When I teach a Which Away, I explain where this move come from. When I teach a Scooby-Doo, I explain where that move come from. And when we bring the original people to our camps, to our events, that's even better. Because I never tell them, I tell them always, and Julia can testify to that too, I always tell them, go and learn from everybody. If you can learn from the original, of course go. I can teach you a Scooby-Doo for a day, but the best is to learn from the person who created it. So again, I don't want to talk too much, but to me, I was very sad to see that message from that young dancers who, you know, it was very aggressive, very hateful, and especially using that time and that situation after the crazy situation that we see happening in the US, using that time to attacking us and say something he said, for me was very bad. And that's it. I mean, like, check if anybody wants to check what we do, and then check what we do before talking, because we never put down anybody, because Greg told me never put down everybody, but even nobody. I went to LA. I've seen the power of that dance. I always do my best to do the best I can and to always point at the people to go there if they can. To me, if you're a locker, no matter where you're from and you've never been to LA, it's a bit weird. You better go to LA at least. And to be honest with you, some people, they go only if it's a competition. No, I know Julia have been there. I know many of my students, they go to LA and they hang out with Richie, and the others, they try to emulate and grab it and take information from different point of views, because it's a big dance. So, I mean, my actions speak for better than my words. And again, I will just say that I didn't understand what was that message. Like, I don't think locking needs a message like this right now. We need to be all together. We might have different point of view, different styles, different ideas, but locking is stronger together. You know, I don't attack anybody for anybody's style, or I don't attack if somebody do something in their country, because the people who's talking, what do they do? Sometimes I'd like to see what they do, because they're attacking us, but what do they do?
I hear you.
That's the thing, because I've been Locking for Life started in 2005, so it's been 15 years of pure activism. That culture and that dance gave me so much, because all the people you see right there, including you, I know it because of that dance. I've been traveling and meeting dancers from all around the world because of Don Campbell creation. And it's always been clear. You cannot find an interview by me without mentioning the Lockers or Don Campbell or even the people who helped me out through my journey. I always make that clear. And that's it. I mean, I don't understand why we need young dancers. And growing up with African dancers, I know that is very disrespectful when you're talking to an elder. Richie is older than that kid. And I'm older than him. I didn't see him in the 90s. When did he come? And he come and he write that big message, trash talk about us. This was very bad. He create divisions, and that's not what we need now. We need a variety of style. I never put down anybody. It's very easy to lie and to, like you said before, and I agree with you, anybody can say whatever. But our actions, all of us speak for our words. So again, when I went to the ballet style, it was just to help a part, and they put that name just to, because people tell them it's not the original style. So, okay, so what do? They cannot say it's a locking, so we have to say something. So people fighting for words and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful dance. Thanks, Don Campbell. Rest in peace. And I wish locking to go bigger. And I want to see more lockers in America, in everywhere. And I want everybody to join forces to push that dance further. No matter skin color, no matter what we think and styles, because as soon as we start to say this is the right way and this is the wrong way, as artists, we're killing the dance. And what Don Campbell used to tell me all the time is be creative and be yourself. So I don't understand why now some people come to me and say, you do it right, you do it wrong. We popularize the dance culture that we love. And like I said before, I gain so much from that creation that I will forever be grateful to Don Campbell. And I wish we can have a better discussion with everybody. That's why I thank you again, Alpha, for doing this. And I will stay here because I don't want to talk too much. Thank you again, Alpha.
No problem. Well, only thing I'm going to say is it's I know, just like I told Rich, Andrea, I trust you for your word. I believe you. And I looked at videos. Like I said, I know where you're coming from. You and I talked for a long time when we were in Paris. It wasn't like a small little conversation. We had like a conversation. And still I haven't talked about rather locking for life or this or that. I haven't mentioned that, right? I mean, that's not a conversation that I
Can I say something?
About. Sure can.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt you, but this is what I'm saying. It was very bad to use that time, that special time when everybody's suffering and, with the virus and what's happening in America, using that time to attacking us and mix and create a confusion with Valley style, Locking for Life, the leaders, like we don't care about Black lives and all the thing is full of hate. I don't know. And the people who really knows us, they know us. And prove me, show me something that we did wrong. Show me an interview on that locking is a French dance. It's crazy.
But you know what, though? I'll tell you this quickly. But first, I still feel weird when you say the Valley style, because it's Richie style, and that because when you say Valley style, people look at you like you're talking about Sanchez, that group. You know what I'm saying? When you say Valley, because that's where the name came from, and I didn't argue with those guys. I mean, I know them. I know the brothers. I knew the guys, and I stay out of things, but I've heard so much, right? So when you say Valley style, they look at that and they think that until today, when Rich said that he don't even really hang out with him, never talk to him or anything, I didn't know that until today. But I think it would be, just my opinion, live with whoever's listening. I think you probably should stop using the term Valley style. I think that would go so far because you don't need to. It's locking. It's locking. If you want to call it what they were doing, something rich. They got some Richie in them because that's his style. That was his style. That he didn't do what the Valley style did. Like Chain Reaction did. He had it was a little different from that. The guys from Chain Reaction, one of the guys, probably Tom, choreographed the routine and call it Valley style, but it was just a routine from locking, change, and
I think, I think it's better Richie to answer, but I just want to say this: Chain Reaction. When I met them, they talk about Chain Reaction style.
Yeah,
they never say Valley style. I mean, that's my experience, and I understand. I really understand what you do, and it's true because some people they use that because you know what Chain Reaction like. How they are and stuff. Right, and I know that some of the people, they use that mix with Richie. Many times people told me, so Richie is with the Chain Reaction and stuff. No, to me, I'm French. I'm not from the US. Right. So in my perspective, when I see that documentary, it was very clear the way they explain their journey. They say it's about their story and they mention Chain Reaction, but they explain that they developed something different. I don't think that Anthony Thomas, Richie, the guys that talking in the documentaries are dancing like Chain Reaction. I don't see it. I see some connection, but I see it's different. And when I talk in the documentary, I always say there is no comparison with the Lockers because they say all of them, they say it in themselves. I don't understand why people compare the Lockers with they don't say they dance as funky. No, there's nobody. And as far, I want to finish with this, the term guest that the first recent year that I heard that guest term. I never heard that before. But to me, everybody's guest beside the originals.
That's right.
Only the originals who create the dance. Everybody else before, in my opinion, is guest. So I am a guest too, like many people, because you can be from a different city. And if you're not from LA, if you're not from the 70s, and you're not from Soul Train, you not hang out with Don Campbell and everybody, you're a guest, because this is, to me, the people who create that art form, the original. And we need to give the status to the original. That's why, to me, there's no OG in other countries than LA. LA is the only place when you have OG in locking. To me, old school in France, in Japan, in China, fine, but no OGs. Original needs to stand for the people from LA, the first generation. Everybody after that, okay, we all guests. But if some people, they use that term guest to put people out or say that they have a pass over others. And to me, I disagree with that. If you tell me I'm guest because I'm from Europe, you can be from the States and be a guest too, because if you're 20, 30 years old, 35, 40 years old, you didn't create that dance. So that's my take on the term guest. I never used that term before. It's new for me. First time I heard that we are guests. But if we have to mention that we are guests, to me, my point of view about the term is only originals, LA, first generation, and everybody else guests from what the OG people in LA created. That's my point of view.
Well, just so you know, I've never heard the term guest unless I had a guest coming to my house or a guest from this or that. Seriously, it's, not to knock those guys, because I don't like knock dancers, but the term guest for me is, it's not a term that someone should throw around, not for that purpose, not because you're Black and you're a guest to be in our space. Because if that, it just doesn't make sense. But I don't want to talk about that, because I respect all the guys, I respect all the dancers, and let them all say what they want to say. But like I said, the only thing, because I know that Don's now legacy is going to be intact, so I was okay with that before this conversation started. I just have the problem with the Valley stuff, the Valley style. That's my pet peeve with that, because like I said, I didn't dislike Chain Reaction, because I got along with them as people, but not as the dance thing. We never talked about it. I wouldn't, it's like Jeff Kutash. He's a big time producer of, people know the special. Flash. Yeah, the Flash and all that. He used to ask me all the time to be in the show, and if he's listening, he knows that. And I never did. Because I would hear all these things, and I go like, nah, I'm good, but I like you, and that's the way it was. But a lot of people don't like that term, and because they see, if they see, because you go to Asia, and because Tony was there a lot, way, like, ever since he left the lockers, when I was in lockers, he danced with us, and he left and went to Japan, and he put a lot into it because he stayed years in South Korea as well. So he spent time in both of those places, and you could imagine all what he did there. So yeah, lockers was new to Europe, but it wasn't as new to Asia as it was to Europe, because in '70s, early '70s, Scooby was there for like 4 or 5 years in Something Special, the group, and that's what they pretty much did, So I'm just saying that because I know people gonna say, well, it was, because it's true that they, Greg was in Asia a lot, and and Tony still there. His sons, I watched them too, and they're like so awesome, and so I just think that if we get the, if not, and I like the way Rich dance, and he's, just like, if it's a great style that he has for himself, right? But I think that's my only thing, because it's a better thing when people say the alpha style. I'm all over it. I love to have an alpha style. So Richie, be happy with that. I know that, I can see it in your head everywhere, but I'm just saying there's no such thing, because everything came from locking. I mean, you can only have your style of your own unless you're trying to create a new dance. And so you already showed us and talked to us about that's not what you're trying to do. So the best thing,
I saw a great, sorry to interrupt. I saw a great video by Moncel yesterday, and he just changed the words, and he said that locking is a dance form, and that when you understand that form and have the technique and everything like that, that everybody has their own style. So when you say it's Richie Rich's style, it's Anthony Thomas's style, it's Jazzy's style, it's Kenny's style.
of
We all
course,
are very similar. We all have our thing.
that is what I was saying.
And like I said, we all come from our area, and that represents the way we dance.
I got you. I understand. I understand.
My Valley style does not, I am a locker, plain and simple. I do things, I do certain sequences of points. I do different moves than the original lockers did. I know what the lockers did. I know their basics and foundations. I created different point sequences for myself. Again, people just refer that to a Valley way of locking. It's just a different sequence. A point is a point is a point. But if I name a point because I do it in sequence, then that's my style of what I created. If other people do it, that's how they refer it. I'll say this, everybody can call, I'm a locker, I do the dance of locking. I do it my style, my way. If people consider me, that's my Valley style way of doing it, I don't see anything wrong with that. But again, that's my opinion.
Okay, well, I'm just, like I said, I listen to everyone, and I, like to hear your own, your own opinion about it. But that's where we differ. But that's okay. I mean, people could be different, but that's where you're going to lose. You just lost a lot of people when you said that you created different point style variations, because then it's a style that you created that's different than the lockers. Because if you're saying that, and you, the person, and saying that's my style, that's great. But then when you say, well, if other people do it and they call it locking, they call it the Valley style because you created it, and they do it too, but they have their own style and they put some of you in there, which is good, because that's the way all dance is done. I mean, if you see all the people that did corkscrews and pull throughs and all the dance steps that I created, but I never say ever say that it's my style that what they're doing. I say it's dance moves that I created that they're doing. My style is my style. Mm-hmm. Only one could do my style is me. Yeah. And no one could do your style but you. Other people can do some of the moves you created, yes, but they can't do your style. because it's I mean they can market and they can learn a routine, yeah. But then if they call it if they call it their style, then they're just copying you. And what fun is that? You're not being yourself.
I
That's
teach
what I'm just saying, Rich. I'm just saying, brother. I want to talk to you, want to get to know you, but I think they're certified how they feel, because they haven't changed anything of where. But when you said that, I'm just saying, locking is locking. Locking is locking. And if anybody out of all the lockers, me being in the first generation, if somebody was gonna make another style, it would have been my style of locking. And that's no such word.
I just have a question, Alpha.
That's no such word. I'm just saying, that's the only, I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Julia, I'm sorry. Go for it.
It's just about style and stuff. I heard Fluky, he talk a lot about speed locking as a style, you know? So, I don't know, he's a first generation person. I just put it on the table like that, you know? He's a first generation person. He created like speed locking, what he calls speed locking, and he teach in his class and demonstrate. So it's his style, but he named it kind of. He don't say fluky style, he says speed locking. So,
but
what do you
whoever created it is their style or their move. It's
of course, but he put a name. I just mean
it's
that
okay.
He put a different...
Everybody put names to moves. The alpha, the corkscrew, the pull through. Everybody has. When you create a dance move, yeah, you can do all the variations you want, but you know it's a move, and you're going to teach it. It's just a move. It's a new move of locking. If you're going to do it with locking, it's not to say that it's a new style. You know,
but Alpha,
your style.
Alpha, because I'd like to ask something, because Julia and I, it's not our first language. So is it the word style a problem? Because if they say valet flavor, because Richie, in the other hand, is not the only one who developed that way of dancing. So that's why it's a bit hard for him to say that's his style, because when you see the other guys around him, they also, so is it the word style? If you change, you say valet flavor, is it a problem?
Well, the thing is, it's to me, this is just me talking, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and I hear from other guys, and you know, they some of them feel the same way, but this is just me talking. When someone says style to me, it's a personal thing. As a matter of fact, I was listening to a video the other day, and I forgot what the guy's name. He was talking about locking, and he was talking about style, foundations of a house, where you got your foundation of locking, and then he said you got your styles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.